This lesson is on the angle addition postulate and angle bisectors. We're going to start out with the angle addition postulate. And what this is saying is if K is the interior of HIJ, then angle HIK plus angle KIJ equals angle HIJ. So all this is saying is that if K is the interior, which in this case it is, then both of these small angles have to add up to equal the big one. So angle 1 would have to add up to angle 2 to equal angle 3. So angle HIK would add up to angle JIK to equal angle HIJ. So it's just a fancy way of saying that the two small angles have to add up to the total that equals the big angle. So when I look at an example, if angle AOC equals 70, so AOC is that whole big angle, has to equal 70 degrees, and angle AOB, which is from here to here to here, is 1/2 times 2x plus 20, and angle BOC is x. We're going to find these different things. So the angle addition postulate says that these two angles, AOB and BOC, have to add up to be AOC. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add up one half times 2x plus 20 plus x has to equal 70 degrees. And my first step is to distribute. So that's x plus 10 plus x equals 70. So 2x plus 10 equals 70. So 2x equals 60. And x equals 30. So that's the first part of what they asked me to do. But then they also asked me to find BOC and AOB. Well, BOC just equals x. So since x equals 30, then BOC also just equals 30. But when I'm looking at AOB is 1/2 times 2x plus 20. So I'll have 1/2 times 2 times 30 plus 20. So when I do this, this is 2 times 30 is 60 plus 20. So that's 1/2 times 80, which equals 40. So angle AOB equals 40 degrees, and I have to make sure that these have to add up to equal 70. And since they add up to equal 70, I'm pretty sure my work is correct. The next thing we're going to talk about is angle bisectors. And an angle bisector is just a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So it's dividing it in half equally. So here, since this ray right here is a bisector, then I know that angle WXZ has to be congruent or equal to YXZ. So they have to equal the same thing. So if I were to label those angles, angle 1 has to be congruent to angle 2. Now looking at an example, I know that FG right here bisects EFH. So I know that EFG and HFG are going to have to be congruent. So looking at that, if GFH or HFG, whichever way you say it, is 1/2 times 10x minus 20, it has to be equal to EFG, which is 3x plus 25. So if I distribute that 1/2, I get 5x minus 10 equals 3x plus 25. Two x equals 35, so then 1x equals 17.5. But now it also asks me to find some other angles. So it asks me to find GFH, which is 1/2 times 10x minus 20, or 5x minus 10, so 5 times 17.5 minus 10, which is going to give me 77.5. Now I know that EFG and HFG or GFH have to be the same because they were bisected, or EFH was bisected, so this is also just going to be 77.5. Now EFH, if I use the angle addition postulate, because it's made up of these two angles, I should just be able to add these to get to EFH. So it's just 77.5 plus 77.5, which is 155. And using what we learned about angle pairs and angle relationships, I know that this makes a straight line, so this whole thing has to be 180 degrees. Well, EFH from here to here was 155. So if the whole thing has to equal 180, and I already used 155, then I know that from here to here, there's only 25 degrees left. So then IFE is 25 degrees.